Okay, so we're going to go into another lesson, and we've actually finished, which is unbelievable. Well done. So we've done all that. No more Ray Mears, sadly, for you. Now, the purple book there, most of you will have that. If you don't, it's really, really helpful for you to get that book. I may even put a link on Show My Homework to Amazon. I don't even know how much it is, but I'll put it on there just in case you can't find it. It's unbelievably useful because obviously there's so much information. It's trying to get it down to something that's you can actually remember. So that does a really good job there. So what we're going to look at today is one of the last questions of the exam paper, the importance of. So remember, this is our basic structure of the exam paper. We've done the consequences question. We did a narrative account question. We'll go back to that later on. And then you have two questions. You have to answer two questions at the end, which are framed the same. Say the importance of this or the importance of that. And they will give you an option from three questions to choose. So normally they'll give you like a really easy one, like the importance of the Railroad Act or the importance of the Homestead Act, which is nice. But then also they'll give you two probably slightly harder ones on there. So it's important you make the right choice. So what I want you to do today is we're just going to summarise. I don't want you to write these out. I just want you to basically get the key facts. I'll put the basic pages from the revision book. I'll scan them for you so you have those. So what was the importance of the Little Bighorn battle? Well, the first thing is the way it changed American public opinion. So before the battle, most white Americans were, relatively happy with Indians on the reservations, etc. After they heard about the way that Custer had died, and apparently Indians had mutilated the bodies after the battle, the majority of Americans wanted the end to the Indians and basically Indians destroyed. So that was a huge change. The impact for the US Army was obviously this was a failure, but in the end, they got new weapons, they built new forts. They massively reinforced their army, and they were determined to get revenge on the Indians. They pushed Indians onto the reservations, which we know about, and also they became determined to weaken the power of the Indian chiefs. So, for example, Crazy Horse was captured and killed. Sitting Bull as well was also killed very shortly after the Battle of Little Bighorn. So they became determined to kind of take out the leaders as such. So just kind of summarise that. I'll put the page on for you. The next one's about Wounded Knee. And there's not a huge amount to write about here. So again, the reason why this is important is because it demonstrates about American public opinion about Indians. Very callous. They didn't really care particularly about what happened, and their need to exterminate the hostile Indians, and they thought it was justified. And in fact, the American soldiers who did that were kind of put on the papers as heroes. It led to the end of the Ghost Dance, which was banned. And again, the clamping down of Indian beliefs and culture. Obviously, the impact on the Sioux was that it was the last clash between them. They had their weapons taken away. They were forced to go onto the reservations. Their horses were taken, etc. I think the long-term importance of Wounded Knee, even today, it became a symbol of white oppression of Indians, and they, I think celebrate's the wrong word. They recognise it every year. It's the 29th of December between Christmas and New Year, where it becomes a symbol of how terribly the American Indians were treated by the whites. The reservation system is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to talk about that too much, so go back and do that one. And the Dawes Act, it's quite specific, and they sometimes do these very specific questions. So really, again, remember the Dawes Act was a bit like the Homestead Act. It split the reservation land into these small amounts of land. Often they were cheated out of their land, or they sold it just to get some quick money. So really, this was a terrible end for the Indians. They weren't able to survive. My voice is going again. They weren't able to survive on the plains because they weren't used to farming, etc. It was great for the U.S. government because they didn't have to spend all this money looking after the Indians on the reservations, and really it led to the end of the Indian frontier. If you want a challenge, you want some more extra things to do, you want to get ahead of the curve, I've done like a little revision summary here for you. So just for you to sort of, get some basic bullet points to some of the key things, because there's so much information. And as we go forward, we've got loads of revision material like this where we summarise everything for you. So that's it for today. Hopefully that won't take you that long. Obviously what we're going to do next time is do to the exam questions, and we'll see where we go from there. Okay, have a good day.